Hello children, how are you all? Did you all go through the video last week? Did you all enjoy the animations and the presentation? Okay, so this week we will continue with the same lesson, lesson 3, inside our body. Let's get started. Lesson 3, inside our body, second video. Now let us move on with the lesson with the topic breathing in and breathing out. So children, you remember in the previous lesson we have learned that all living things breathe. Which part of the body helps us to do this? Yes, it is our nose. So in this lesson we are going to learn which are the other organs which helps us in breathing along with the nose. The windpipe and the lungs together are the organs. These are the three organs together which form the respiratory system. It's called a system because we have learned in the previous video that 2 or 3 organs which do the same function forms an organ system. So here the nose helps us to breathe, and the windpipe, it connects our nose to the lungs, and the lungs expand and contract when we breathe in and breathe out air. So all these 3 organs together forms the respiratory system. Okay children? So what happens when air enters our nose? We all know children that there is very fine hair inside our nose. Why? Why there is hair inside our nose? Because this fine hair traps the fine dust from the air. It does not allow the dust to enter our lungs. So the air that goes into the lungs is much cleaner. The air taken by the nose passes through the windpipe into the lungs. And when the lungs get filled with the air, they become swollen like a balloon. So when we breathe in air, it is called inhaling. And when we breathe out air, it is called exhaling. And when we breathe in air, our lungs expand. And when we breathe out air, our lungs contract. Can you see the same thing in this picture, children? Okay. So children, there are many types of gases present in the air like oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon dioxide and many more. When we breathe in air, all these gases enter into our nose to the lungs. Now, which is that gas which is required or useful and helpful for our body? There is a gas called oxygen that is present in the air. Oxygen is required to break down the food and produce energy for all the parts of the body. So, how does oxygen reach all the parts of the body? Yes, the lungs separate the oxygen from all other gases present in the air and pass them to all parts of the body through blood. So what happens to all the other gases which are not used by our body? So when food turns into energy, another gas called carbon dioxide is given out. This carbon dioxide and other waste gases are all sent out of the body again by lungs in the process of exhalation. I have added a small video of inhalation and exhalation of air in this slide. You can see how lungs take in oxygen from air and send back carbon dioxide out of our body from the nose. However, children, there are some advanced terms used in this video which is not for you to learn. You can ignore those words and concentrate on the video and how the process of inhalation of oxygen in blood and exhalation of carbon dioxide is shown. Okay, children?
As we breathe in air, the oxygen molecules enter the nostrils and travel downwards through the pharynx and trachea to finally reach the bronchi. From each bronchus, oxygen travels into the lungs. The blood moving into the alveolus contains RBCs and carbon dioxide molecules. These molecules are released into the alveolus. The carbon dioxide collects in the alveolar chamber. and then from the alveolus it travels through the bronchioles, into the bronchus, which finally reaches the trachea, and is breathed out through the nostrils.
In your textbook on page 27, there is a small bit called Find Out, and it says, fish live in water. They have no lungs. How do they breathe? Where does the oxygen come from? So for this bit, I have provided a small video by which you can understand how fish is able to live in water and how it is able to breathe.
Good job, Tofu. Now let's put it back in water. Let's not kill it, as it won't be able to breathe outside water. Why, Tia? If we can breathe outside water, then why can't fish do that too? That's because we have lungs to breathe. What we breathe is oxygen, and when it enters the windpipe, it goes straight to the lungs. The lungs help us to breathe in air. Fish don't have lungs? No, Tofu. Fish don't have lungs. They have gills. What are gills? They are similar to our lungs. Behind its mouth, they have holes just like our nose. Fish breathe by taking in oxygen from the water it drinks. The gills separate the oxygen present in the water and throw out the water and the carbon dioxide. So are you trying to say that we have lungs and they have gills to breathe? Yes.
I hope all of you all understood what is breathing in and out, or inhalation and exhalation, and how lungs separate oxygen from air and send them to all parts of the body through blood, and how carbon dioxide is sent out of the body from nose. Now, there are some activities on page number 25 and 26 in your textbook which you all can try at home with your siblings with the help and guidance of your parents. The first activity is about building a simple model of the lungs with balloons and straw. Please see this video to understand the same. The second activity is to observe if our chest becomes larger when we breathe in air. Please read all the lines in this activity and work with your parents to do it practically. Okay? The third activity is to count how many times a person breathes in a minute. Do all people breathe the same number of breaths in a minute? And does your breath become faster or slower when you run up and down the stairs, or skip 50 times and so on? Also, you need to notice that sometimes we use our mouth to let out the breath. Can you think of a reason why? Yes, breathing through the mouth becomes necessary when you have nasal congestion due to allergies or cold. So children, we have seen how lungs are a vital organ in our body as it helps us to breathe clean air. But how much will the lungs clean the dirty air that we breathe? The air that we breathe, especially in cities, is not very clean. It contains smoke and gases given out by vehicles and factories, which are very, very harmful. In the first picture, children, we see so many vehicles on the road. You all also must have seen when you all come to school and travel to other places, the pollution that is caused because of the vehicles, the smoke and the dust that is on the road, it's very harmful. And in the second picture also you can see how factories let out harmful smoke out of their chimneys. So all this causes dirty air and harmful smoke. Apart from vehicles and factories, dirty air is also caused because of burning down of so many things. Before plowing the fields for new crops, farmers burn down the old dry grasses and weeds in their fields. Also, burning wood for cooking and making bonfires to keep warm also adds to pollution. Another great reason is burning firecrackers during Diwali and weddings are also responsible for dirty air. People get suffocated and develop bad cough and eye infections because of this smoke. Apart from dust and smoke, very tiny bits of soot is also produced when things burn. What is a soot, children? A soot is a black carbon substance that forms while burning down of coal or wood, oil, etc. It rises like black fumes into fine particles appearing on the side pipes of a chimney and other locations. So you might have observed, children, that when your father starts his vehicle, you can see the black smoke comes out of the exhaust pipe. And when it cools down, you can see that there is fine powdery substance stuck to the exhaust pipe. So this is a form of a soot. Soot is different from smoke and carbon. Okay, children? We know that tiny hair present inside the nose prevents dust to enter the lungs. However, it cannot stop the very tiny ones like soot from smoke. They get into the lungs and they collect there. This causes difficulty in breathing and causes other lung problems. The air quality in the capital city of our country, which is Delhi, is the worst of any major cities in the world. In 2019, the Supreme Court of India made a statement on the pollution in Delhi saying, Delhi has become worse than hell. Let us watch the small video about Delhi air pollution and the causes for its pollution.
This is New Delhi, India's capital, and its dangerously polluted air is putting millions at risk. The city is being described by authorities as a gas chamber. Schools have been shut down, and there are temporary restrictions on the number of cars allowed on the road. Farmers in neighborhood regions burning crops to clear the fields for a new harvest.
So the crops change from rice to wheat in this period, and many farmers in some of the nearby states to Delhi burn the crop residues to prepare the fields for the next crop to be planted. And there's this, tens of thousands of these fires of crop burning that are happening. And then that air mass is close to Delhi and then also gets trapped by the cooler weather that starts to happen.
Add to that the urban pollution from a city of 20 million people, emissions from cars, factories, and the result, the most polluted capital in the world. And then the celebration of Diwali, the festival of lights added to the smoke with a number of people setting off fireworks for days.
The government tried to introduce green firecrackers that are a little cleaner burning. It's not very clear that these have been widely adopted. They've actually banned them in Delhi, but I was there. You hear them going off.
We saw how air becomes dirty and polluted. Air also carries disease-causing germs and viruses. Even the COVID-19 or the coronavirus that we are facing right now from past 6 months is also a disease-spreading virus that can enter the body through nose, eyes and mouth from another already infected person. Food and water can also be contaminated by disease-causing germs. Germs can get into the body through the mouth, nose, breaks in the skin and eyes. Once disease-causing germs are inside the body, they can stop our body parts from working properly. Among all the air-spread diseases, cough and cold are a very common one. How can we prevent germs from entering our body? Some simple tips to keep away respiratory infections and many other contagious diseases from spreading, especially during cough, cold and flu are: we must wash our hands before and after eating or before we touch our eyes, nose or mouth. We must wash our hands after touching anyone who was sneezing, coughing or blowing their nose. We should not share things like towels, handkerchiefs, toys, or anything else that might be contaminated with respiratory germs. We should not share food or vessels or juice containers or even water bottles with others. So children, will you all remember all these tips? Good. I have added a very interesting video for you to remember the line, cough and sneeze, elbows please.
Achoo! You're going to Machu Picchu? No! That's just me sneezing! Ew! That's terrible! Haven't you heard? Cough and sneeze, elbows please! What? Why would I sneeze into my elbows when I can sneeze into my hands? Because that is the easiest way to spread the germs. I thought covering your mouth would help prevent the spreading of the germs. Yes, but what happens after that? What about the things you would touch after that? I hadn't thought of that. Ideally, you should use a tissue when you cough or sneeze and wash your hands later. But if you don't have a tissue, then make sure you use your elbow to cover your mouth and later wash your elbow. Cough and sneeze, elbows please. I shall remember that. Also, if you are in a crowd of people, cough or sneeze downwards to avoid sneezing directly at someone's face. I will remember that too.
In order to supply the right amount of oxygen to the body so that it functions properly, we need to follow some healthy breathing habits. We need to breathe deeply through our nose. We must keep our mouth closed while breathing. Breathe in fresh air and hold your body in straight position to take in maximum air while breathing.
So children, did you all understand the presentation? Did you all like the presentation? If you all did not follow, please go through the presentation again and again. And also for this week, you have some activity. On page 30 and 31, complete the bit 1, 2 and 3, here 4 and 5. And also on page 32, this bit. Okay children? So stay safe, stay home. See you all next week. God bless you all.